Okay, so this is going to be like a part two of the reading I did yesterday about karmic parents. Um, this message is going to be focusing more on the mother's energy. We're going to revise how she viewed you as a child, what she tried to hide, and why she tried to hide it. I also highlight the people who became your voice and safe haven when you couldn't speak for yourself. This could be people that you felt comfortable, speaking the truth to. So I'll start off by going into how she viewed you as a child, but in a deeper way than I did in the last reading. Now, when you were young, she saw you as someone she didn't know how to handle. And this is meaning she felt like you were sensitive, aware, you carried a strong spirit or energy, even as a child. She didn't know how to respond to that. And it could be because of like her own limitations. This could be emotional immaturity, or because she herself hadn't healed from her past. This could be a mother figure who held on to a lot of trauma. And they could have been in a mindset of they needed to keep quiet about it. They couldn't speak out about it. And it was like a pattern that they were trying to push onto you. Their trauma they were trying to force onto you because they hadn't healed. And I feel like instead of nurturing you properly, she withdrew or avoided giving the emotional support you needed at that time. She just wasn't emotionally available. And that could have left you, feeling confused at an early age. You may have had to grow up too fast and had to learn how to protect and take care of yourself, how to fend for yourself. Now, I'm going to go off into what she tried to hide. Now, there could have been something that happened to you when you were a child, something that should have never happened. And instead of facing it, she tried to bury it. She tried to hide it. And in the process, she silenced you. And this was all to protect her own image, to avoid shame, and to prevent others, specifically like extended family members or outsiders, from finding out. People that viewed her a certain way that she felt like was high honor. She feared what those people would think, how they would judge her, and how it would affect the person she worked hard to maintain. I feel like this is someone who wanted to be seen as like the perfect mother, the perfect wife, the mother who had it all together. And even though she knew deep down she wasn't fully present for you and that wasn't true, she wanted to give, that appearance that everything was under control, and acted as if nothing was wrong. So that's what made her want to hide it and silence you, telling you not to speak about it, don't tell anyone. They could have even threatened you. They could have even made it seem as if you spoke up and said something, you would be in trouble. It would be your fault. You would be blamed for it. Because they were so heavy on being blamed. You know, they were in fear of taking accountability and also being blamed for not protecting you. It's like you were left to carry the weight of what happened alone. Never able to talk about it, never able to understand why it happened. You didn't know if it was your fault or someone else's. And I feel like this could have happened at an age where you were supposed to be being taught right from wrong. Yet you were left to sit with the confusion and the shame of what happened. And as I said, all of this was to protect their image. Because this is someone who hadn't faced something that happened to them in their past. And this is someone who not only forced you into silence, they could have tried to isolate you as well. Like keep you away from everybody so the truth wouldn't surface. And their image would remain intact. And they just felt like it was easier to do this instead of taking responsibility. And I'm also getting that she felt like if she admitted this to herself, she would have to face the truth of being careless as a parent. Because this is someone who could have left you with someone that was just not supposed to be around kids. This is someone who did not know how to love and take care of a child or children. This could have been a child theirself or someone that was definitely a lot older than you. Yeah, it's like they didn't want to have to admit that they thought they left you with someone that they could trust. But in reality, this is someone who was not mature enough to be taking care of you. And it would also mean that they would have to admit failure as a parent. They don't want to take accountability for that. Because this is someone who was accustomed to being seen in certain lights that are just not their own. And I feel like this is someone who caught this red-handed. They were the ones who caught that person. And instead of disciplining that person or, as I say, taking accountability, they just felt like it needed to be hidden. It needed to not be talked about. Maybe they felt like you would be too young to remember. You were too young to even know what happened or what it was or something like that. But this is someone who saw what happened and they froze. And instead of taking accountability or, instead of fully confronting the situation, the first thing that came to mind was to cover it up. And they felt like it was the only way that they could keep things together. I'm hearing something about going back to work. So this person could have came in from work and caught this. And instead of being concerned, nurturing you, making you feel protected, this is someone who cared about not only their image, but surface level grind. They didn't have time for it. They needed to make sure they needed to get rest to go back to work or something like that. Or this could be someone that was supposed to be watching you while this mother was at work. Yeah. Yeah, this is someone who wanted to hold an image of, having a functioning home, functioning life. They have everything together. So they just swept the truth under the rug. You were told not to say anything. Yeah. And I feel like you could have spoke up to someone despite you were supposed to be silenced. You were supposed to not say anything. They didn't trust whoever the person is that they caught keeping you anymore, and they could have started, you could have went to I'm hearing grandparents. So your grandparents could have started keeping you. If your grandparents started keeping you, you felt safe around them. You felt like you had a voice. You were able to talk to them. They could have been teaching and instilling in you different values that you were supposed to learn at that age. The difference between what not to keep hidden and what to keep hidden. They were emotionally available to you. So you could have opened up to them. That was something they didn't expect. They felt betrayed. They felt backstabbed because these could be people they wanted to make sure they upholded that image in front of, like their own parents. They didn't want them harshly judging them or viewing them a certain way. It's like they wanted to keep that mask on. So when you expose them, your grandparents, they were definitely in rage. It's like they took action. And they definitely had this mother figure under judgment. And it caught them off guard. They didn't expect it because they felt like that was something that was buried. That was never going to come back up. And they could have acted as if they didn't. This mother figure acted as if they didn't know what you were talking about at the time that their parents could have confronted them. And it was all out of fear. They acted as if, they had dementia or memory loss. But I feel like after you spoke your truth, your grandparents became your protectors, your safe haven. After your mother tried to hide the truth, they tried to silence you. Yeah. And they started keeping a close eye on you and ensured that you were protected. And I feel like they could have felt like you weren't safe around your mother. Like they needed to shield you away from that person because this is someone who was in an energy of like being careless, or they were, they felt like that your mother didn't care. So it's like their home became the place where you could feel safe, perhaps the only place you truly felt safe as a child. And as I said, they taught you the difference between what you should be quiet about and what you shouldn't. They reassured you that it was okay to speak up when someone was hurting you, or if it was something that did not feel right. They instilled in you values and guidance that your mother didn't provide. The thing every child needs to hear to feel safe and heard. They made you feel comfortable using your voice, sharing your feelings, and expressing yourself when something inside of you, didn't feel right. And I feel like after you exposed the truth and your mother felt like they were under judgment because you were supposed to be quiet, they thought they silenced you and suppressed your voice. After you spoke the truth, you were harshly persecuted for it. You could have been disciplined unfairly, bullied, and singled out for expressing what happened to you. And this is like being bullied by your own mom. And other people are helping them do this, and they don't know why. They don't know the background of why your mother is upset at you. It's like they wanted people to feel like you talk too much. They couldn't do anything around you. You caused problems. It's like they made fun of you and they had other people making fun of you. Yeah. And it was all because karma came at a time that they did not expect. Judgment came at a time that they did not expect. And it scared them. Because they thought they had control. And I feel like your mother ganged up a lot of different people, like family members, in attempts to scapegoat you as if you were the problem, rather than the actions they tried to hide. And I feel like in reality, you were exposing karmic energy and hidden truths from a very young age. Shining a light that they didn't want to be exposed. And Spirit wants you to know, even as a child, you were brave enough to speak the truth. And their actions at that time, whoever your mother is, was never a reflection of your courage. But a reflection of their fear and guilt. But despite all of everything that you had to endure because of this mother figure, your grandparents provided stability, love, and guidance. The guidance that you needed. And I feel like they helped you to navigate the consequences of speaking your truth and reinforced that it was okay to have a voice, to set boundaries, and to trust your own perception. Your grandparents could be people that you looked up to as your true parental figures, more caring and more consistent than anyone else. It's like their love, guidance, and protection shaped the person you are today and gave you a foundation to trust your voice, your feelings, and your sense of what is right. Now, even though this mother was exposed when you were a child, even though you were supposed to be quiet, not say nothing, you still spoke up as a child. I feel like as an adult, it came back up some type of way. Because in the reading, it came out as if you asked your mother, did something happen to you as a child? Or, something like that. And they were trying to hide it or act like, it was hidden or it was something that didn't happen. Spirit is wanting you to know why it was brought back up. This could have been around the time that you were going through an awakening. Spirit brought this up while you were healing because at the time it happened, you didn't have a voice. You were a child. Your grandparents had to be your voice at that time. And if they are no longer here, they're both still watching over you in spirit. It's like they wanted you to be reminded of what happened because you may have forgotten or tried to erase it. And they wanted you to speak your truth, to heal and release it. When you step into your spiritual awakening, you reclaim your voice. The memories and the feelings resurface so you could finally process them as an adult. And I feel like the timing matters now because now you are speaking from power, not from hurt. Spirit showed you the truth during your awakening to finally set you free so that you can walk in your truth and no longer live under someone else's silence. Now, when you brought this back up as an adult and you asked her, did something happen to me when I was a child? She said, no, nothing ever happened to you. I don't remember anything. Somebody else stepped in and said they remembered something. But she still acted as if, no, nothing happened to you. As if she didn't know what the other person was talking about either. And I feel like the person that opened up and said something, this could have been someone that was young at the time. They remembered something happening, but they were too young themselves at the time to fully understand what happened to you. But they still knew something was wrong. They still knew something had happened to you. And they were trying to get your mother to, remember. Like, you don't remember? And they're just like, no. They denied it. Maintaining this appearance of forgetfulness, confusion, to avoid facing the truth. And I feel like Spirit was wanting you to know that the reaction you got from this mother, it was just to show you that it's the same old shame, the same old guilt and fear that she's always carried and has never faced or taken accountability for. This is someone who is still in the energy of avoiding ownership. Your courage brought the truth to light. Her denial is something she has to face, because you've already faced your truth. You've released it and moved forward. And that's something they're still holding on to. Now, anybody that tried to silence you, they now live with the consequences of their choices. And I feel like guilt became heavy to a lot of people, especially people that were involved and people that tried to hide it, like including this mother figure. And they turned to distractions, like they needed to feed the guilt. So this could have been like overindulging in drugs, toxic attachments. This could be over drinking to quiet the guilt. And I feel like it's like confirmation that this is a pattern, this is a cycle that you broke because you chose differently. You didn't repeat that cycle because you have a voice. You stand in your truth. You're not afraid to be judged by anyone. You're not afraid of what other people think. And you're definitely not someone who cares about being seen in certain lights that are not your own. You stand in your energy, unshaken and free. Now, lastly, I want to go off into how she views you now. It's like now she sees you as someone she did not fully raise, but deeply respects. As I stated in the reading yesterday, she recognizes the strength you carry, the way you stand firm in what's right, and how you live with honesty and integrity. They definitely admire you and look up to you. They feel like you're the total opposite of what they were as a parent, especially if you have kids. I feel like from time to time, she may even try to take accountability for certain things, not always fully, but just enough to reassure herself that she was there for you growing up in some type of way, even if it wasn't emotionally there. And I feel like that's often about, erasing the guilt instead of real ownership. Because deep down, she knows she wasn't fully present for you the way that she should have been. Not mentally, not emotionally, not even physically at times. And she still struggles with that truth. And I feel like with the, you know, the guilt and wanting to make it seem like they were a part of your life in some type of way, it's like them wanting to rewrite or soften the past. But even through that, your mother, they can't deny what they see in you. You rose up strong. You've built yourself up. And you became the person she could never take credit for raising. This is someone who is also genuinely thankful that you had your grandparents. Your grandparents stepped in. And they had a full hand in raising you. And this is someone who knows in their heart that your grandparents are the ones who can fully take credit for how you turned out in the person you are today. So, the final message that I'm getting is they tried to silence you, but you stood tall. You found your voice even when you didn't have a voice. You spoke your truth. You were never left without love. Your grandparents were divinely placed to protect you, to raise you, and to give you the foundation your mother could not. It's like Spirit already knew your mother was karmic. What she couldn't provide, they could. They stepped up. When she stayed silent, they spoke up. Yeah. And I feel like whatever karma these people have had to receive, whatever happened to you, whoever that person is, and as I said, this could be someone that was supposed to be someone that was this could be like an older sibling or something like that. Their karma is something that they have to face. Because whatever they thought you forgot, you buried, you've healed from. You've set yourself free. You're someone who's standing in your strength and in your truth. Yeah. So this is, I feel like Spirit is wanting you to know that whatever was meant to break you still couldn't break you as a child. You were always going to overcome the karmic cycle that you were placed in around karmic soulmates, whether it was karmic siblings, karmic parents. You were always going to come out on top. They were never going to be able to defeat you.